We are live.
We live, baby.
What is this? I forgot what to do. I hadn't been on the show in a minute.
I don't know what happened to you last week.
Well, I can't remember. I think we went and saw the Christmas lights last week.
Okay.
Family time.
Yep. Um, Wes, it's we're coming up on Christmas.
Yep.
It's cold. It's gonna
Yep.
be it's a cold week. It's gonna be down in the low 20s all week this week. So the fish are in a winter pattern. So hey, what's going on, Facebook user? I can't see your name for some reason. It doesn't. Some people, I guess it depends on where you're watching it.
I think they're watching it from my page. It just comes up as Facebook user because we're on your profile.
I think it comes up as Facebook user if they're on the Real Fisherman page and we're not
okay.
and we're not friends with them.
Is that Rusty Griffin?
It's Rusty.
Yeah.
What's up, Rusty?
Rusty, I was looking at one of your pictures last night on Facebook. I didn't know you lived in a bougie house. Dude, they had this badass fireplace going. All the family was there, and then they go out on the. Then he's got a big Florida room out there. Hell, his damn Florida room's bigger than my whole house. Last time I seen Rusty Griffin, he was pulling off from my house with a 30-gallon SBT tank.
Oh, wait.
And from there, he just got straight bougie on me.
So the fish are getting into a winter pattern. You know, we're getting out of that fall bite. I mean, yes, technically the fall is all the way till December. What is it, Wes? The 21st, I think.
I don't know. What's the first day of winter, technically?
I think it's December 21st.
Yeah.
So we're technically still in fall, but the fish are in a winter bite. I mean, I think most people would agree that the fall bite is coming to an end.
Yeah.
But you know, people north of us, like say in Ohio, you know, their fall bite probably ended back in November, probably middle of November, somewhere around in there.
Well, now, hold on a minute, Gerald. I hate to interrupt you. Rusty, you've been smoking the spots on Kiwi and you hadn't called me. You're actually back around the house and you hadn't even called me. You see how they are, JR? They go down to the coast, bomb a little down bay boat and start doing a little guiding. And then they forget about their friends when they come back home. But anyway, go ahead, Junior.
I'm sure Rusty's a busy man.
Shit, you ain't too busy to call your damn friends. I call you all the time.
I was just saying, this time of year, once the fish go into that winter pattern, you know, they go deep, basically. I look forward to those days where the highs are in the 70s. Like we have this, like a warming trend. Like we'll get some rain and then we'll get a warming trend. There'll be, you know, we could have some days in the 60s and 70s. Those are some of the best bites I think I've ever been on, is in late December, early January, and when we get a warm front come through. And I was just wondering, what is it that's making those fish bite so good during those?
It's all the orgasms in the water.
It's all them orgasms? Is that what it is?
But you know, you're talking about like the cold pattern when it gets cold, but you know, most of my winter fishing, I mean, even in the dead winter, and I don't know why, and I don't know if it's habit. And I have caught, I've caught most of my big fish in the spring and fall. And actually, the biggest freshwater striper I've ever caught was on a July day, and it was like 100 degrees. But, you know, there again.
Well, wait a minute now. What was the water temp?
61 degrees.
See, I mean, that's kind of an outlier. So you're confusing people when you say that.
No, I'm just saying. Well, anybody that knows where I fish understands that. If they don't understand what I just said, they'll never get it anyway. But anyway, what I'm saying is, especially in the mornings, I've caught a lot of big fish in the back of creeks in the dead wintertime in 3 foot of water. You know, everybody says these fish go deep. They go deep. The big fish do not always go deep. A lot of these big fish, they don't get back in these creeks in that shallow water because it warms up quicker.
You know, that's what I was going to say is, you know, you have less bites when the water's cold, when the wintertime, when they're in that winter pattern, you have less bites.
Yeah.
The fish are more lethargic. But is that the time? Do you think you have a better chance of catching a big fish, even though you may only get 1 bite, 2 bites, you know, in 8 hours or whatever? Do you think that that's probably, or could be the best time because it seems like the bigger fish bite when it's cold?
Here's what I figured out about fishing, Junior. You know, we talk about water conditions, you know, water temperature, the sun, the bait, and to me, and what few times I've actually went fishing 2 or 3 days back to back to back. Every day is different, and it took me a while to figure this out. But people think we talk about patterns. Even in patterns, every day is different when it comes to fishing because they've got tails. They're going to move. Just because they're in a pattern, and say you got the same water temperature today, you go tomorrow, you got the same water temperature, same conditions, baits there, whatever. It don't mean the fish is going to be there. This big thing about patterns, I honestly, and I might be wrong, people's probably going to say I'm stupid, but I don't take a whole lot of stock in patterns. I think it changes day to day.
I think this it's a loaded question. Every question in fishing is a loaded question because there's just so many variables. But
yeah,
like I guess this is Rusty. He said I think it's light and temps and pressure plays a big role on them when they're spending a lot of time deep.
Yeah.
I think that he's on to something because I think that because normally when we have those warming trends in late fall, early winter, they're always associated with some rain that we've either gotten before the warming trend or right after the warming trend. And
well, let me ask you this: talking about like patterns, Junior, what we was talking about earlier. Okay, suppose you go to a new lake, no matter what time of year. I guess I'll say it wouldn't matter, summer, winter, spring, fall, whatever. But what do you look for when you go to a new body of water that you've never fished or very little about it, if anything? What do you look for?
Well, if I go to a new body of water this time of year, let's say the water temp is in the low 50s. Yeah. If it's a reservoir, like what I have around me, Lake Wiley, Lake Norman, Baden, whatever. If it's a reservoir, then
get out the trash can.
I'm gonna hit the creeks. Usually, especially Lake Norman has a lot of huge creek arms on it. So I'm gonna hit those large, deep creeks, and I'm gonna head because I know that those fish, the water temp being in the 50s, I know those fish are either headed to the backs of the creeks or either they're going to their winter pattern. They're moving out of the creeks back out into the main river channel. I want to find out where the majority of those fish are because they're not all migrating at the same time. You still got some that are moving up toward the backs of the creeks. Then you got some that have said, okay, it's gotten too cold. We're going to turn around. We're going to reverse. We're going to hit the reverse and we're going to head back out into the deeper river channel. So I'm going to find those fish. I'm going to go about midways to 3/4 of the ways back in a major creek. And I'm going to start using my sonar and I'm going to try to find where these fish are before I decide where to fish.
If you go into the back of a creek, Gerald, what's the first thing? You're going to go in the back of a creek. You're going to turn around. You're going to pull boards, free lines, whatever. What's the first thing you look for?
Before I start pulling boards, I want to mark fish. So the first thing I'm going to look for is fish.
Yeah.
Now this time of year, we're getting the birds. So the birds are a giveaway to where the fish are. So especially on Lake Murray, for example, you can basically just the birds will tell you everything you need to know.
In the wintertime, when I go to the back of a creek, when I put my boards out, if I'm pulling boards, you know what I'm going to do? First thing, where should I put my boards at?
Where should you put your boards? Shallow.
No.
Okay. Where should you put your boards? I don't know. I give up. Where?
I want to fish the bank that the sun's shining on.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
When the sun comes up, because believe it or not, that water will heat up a whole lot quicker than the shaded side of a creek. When the sun's coming up in the morning, especially in the wintertime, always put your boards on the side of the bank. Because, Patrick Miller, we used to have that saying is, pull the boards and put mud on them. Put mud on your planer boards.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you want to put them up on that bank where that water is the warmest, because it's going to warm up the quickest.
Yeah, well, we don't bring his name up on this show. He's a horrible person. But moving on, are the big fish hanging with the majority? I think that was a rhetorical question. No, usually they're not. I mean, I guess it depends. If you're talking about like Lake Norman hybrids, probably they probably are. But if you're talking about stripers or catfish, probably not. But I think that it is important to find out where the majority of the fish are, because I don't think the big fish are going to be that far from them. They may be in a completely different ecosystem, but I don't think they're going to be that far from them. So I want to get an idea of where the fish are. Then it doesn't mean I'm going to fish there. It just means I may fish somewhere close to there. I think that they're not going to be a complete opposite part of the lake. You know what I mean? Like if they're in the very backs of the creek, if the majority of the fish are in the very back of creeks, then I'm not going to go fish the main river channel. Or maybe I would. I don't know. That's a good question.
You know, I've went in creeks before, especially a lot, you know, and a lot of people that fish Russell a lot know there's a lot of bait in Russell. When I say a lot of bait for its size, there's Dieter. For Russell's size, it's probably got more bait than any of our lakes in South Carolina, if I had to guess, per acreage. I've been in the back of some of the creeks in Russell, and there would be so much bait there, I wouldn't even fish it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes there could be too much bait.
You have too much bait in a creek.
Dieter, we have somehow stumbled on the subject of warming trends in late fall, early winter. And I know you've made a couple shorts recently about that very thing. So what is it about the warming trends that you think turns the bite on?
I think the bite's good. It's just that the fishermen go fishing and they catch fish because it's finally warm and they think the fish are biting. No, this year we're not exactly in a warming trend. It's just warm, relatively speaking, to like what we would normally have this time of the year.
Except for this week. It's cold this week.
Yeah, it's kind of back to normal temperatures. This seasonal norms. The other thing that's been weird this year has been the drought until this week, and we finally got around 2 inches of rain across the Catawba Basin, and I'm sure Savannah River probably got the same thing, as did the Yadkin, and pretty much anywhere in the southeast. And lakes are back right near at their target elevations. I say all that to say I think all that's been like a weird kind of combination of stuff that had fish feeding. But when it comes to the trend stuff, man, I think it's just it moves bait. I think it affects, you know, what plankton there is or whatever it is in the water. And I think it moves those fish, and then the feeding fish, active fish, follow. So sometimes they can go super shallow. Sometimes they're just feeding and active. So,
you know, I hear a lot of people say like Hartwell right now, Dieter. Hartwell is probably at its lowest point it's going to be of the year. You know, people working on their docks and blah, blah, blah. And I hear a lot of people say that they can't catch a fish when the lake's that low, and other people say they kill them when the lake's that low.
It could be that some people are just fishing their regular haunts, and that's not where the fish are, and the fish have moved, and the fish haven't adapted. I mean, you know, it's going to affect where they're at, but I don't think it's that big of a deal because it's been going on for so long. It's like when they draw down Hartwell, it takes a while for it to get to that level. It's not like a big, massive, you know, it's not like it went to full pond and then we're trying to drop it very, very quickly to get it back to its target elevation. And, you know, it's like our lakes have been, Wiley's been about 2 feet below normal. I don't think it really affected anything when it's like that for months at a time. So I think it's, what it's been is a matter of just finding the freaking fish. They just keep moving and in different areas. And I think that's because everything's stable. And, you know, it can be stable when it's low. It can be stable when it's high. It can be stable when it's at its target elevation. We just had a lot of stability for a long while. So
do you think
do y'all have a lake in North Carolina that's big as Hartwell?
No.
How does Norman compare?
Norman's 32.5.
Yeah.
And I think Hartwell it's bigger than that. I think
80-something thousand. No, it's 63,000, ain't it?
Yeah. It's a lot bigger. Twice.
Now, you know, Clark's Hill's the largest man-made impoundment east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, it's huge. I think it's 77,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of water down there. I mean, that's a lot of water.
Wow.
So do you think
That's
certain parts of the lake turn on during those warming trends in this time of year, or is it just the entire lake, or do you think like the upper half of the lake is the bite will be fire and the bottom
No,
half won't?
I think it's specific. I don't think there's any freaking rhyme or reason to it after the past 2 weeks of fishing. You know, as far as areas that you like, oh God, it warmed up, I'm going straight to here. I mean, normally you say I'm going to go shallow. I'm going to go into the back of a creek or, you know, a back, you know, cove, something like that. But this year the bite is just turned on out in, you know, relatively deep water, 35, 40 feet, which in Wiley is, you know, that's, you know, relatively deep.
Yeah.
You know, it's been in creek arms and stuff. And then, you know, puffed are gone a couple of days later. So,
I know maybe 7 years, about 2014, 15, somewhere around there. Me and Spivey were doing a lot of crappie fishing on Norman, and we noticed it was I think we were on our Christmas break. So it was like late December, early January. We had a warm trend come through, and we got some several consecutive 70+ degree days there, which was rare. And we killed them. It's like the bite. We went from, you know, catching, getting a handful of bites, crappie fishing, and to just limiting like the fish. It just turned them on big time. That kind of made a believer out of me for the warming trends in the late fall, early winter.
I've second guessed whether what I was doing was actually some intuitive, like something another that I came up with, or what I was half joking about and kind of almost half serious about earlier is that you actually go out fishing. I talk about the biggest fish my son's ever caught. That's been, God, a decade ago.
Hold on. Don't tell me. It was on Fishing Creek, and it was 60 pounds, 61 pounds.
Close. It was on Wateree. It was 60 pounds.
Okay.
But it was on New Year's Day and in the back of a creek, 4 feet of water, and it had rained a bunch and it was muddy as crap. But the temperatures had, you know, warmed up.
Well, let me ask you this. Was the bite good that day, or was it one of those one or two bite days?
It sucked. It sucked. It was that typical winter bite to where it pretty much. Now, we did catch several teeners. I mean, like 3, 4, 5 fish, but that was about it. That was, you know, that's, you know, typical winter type fishing. So it wasn't like crazy on fire widespread. And I'll say this about the fishing recently. It's not been on fire. We've, except for the day the front came through. I had a guide trip that day. What was that? Right before the rain, the day before the rain, wind was blowing. The guys froze their butts off. And the fishing was, I think we had 16 fish in that trip. And I think they left an hour early. So that was only a 5-hour trip. We smoked the fish.
That's a good bite.
I told them coming into it, I said, it's, you know, I said, we're catching fish. So, you know, a lot of double-digit fish. I said, but it's, you know, it's about a fish an hour. And then, of course, it was 180 degrees with the wind, totally different conditions. And, you know, that's, you can attribute that.
Dieter, let me ask you this. You fish more than about anybody I know. Does a slower bite, do you tend to catch bigger fish on a slower bite than?
Well, I mean,
a good bite?
I would say I'll buy it this way. In the wintertime, the wintertime is one of them times where you're going to catch less fish, but the odds are being that they're going to be good. I think we only caught one of the days guide trip. I think it was 6 fish, but one of them was a 42 pounder. And, you know, they were all double-digit fish, except the last one. The last fish, I think, was 8 pounds. But, yeah, it seems like that can happen. And I don't know if there's just, you know, you're just sticking with it longer, maybe trying harder or something.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I was under the impression that the warming trend was, you know, triggered the bite. And you're kind of making me think like that might be placebo. So, do you think that the?
I mean, it could be. It could be a placebo effect of more people go out and go fishing. And you know, it's like today. There was a construction boat, a pier construction boat trailer at the ramp, and there was a bass boat at the ramp, and that was the only other boats. There weren't a lot of people fishing.
That's
So,
a good point. That's a good point because you're not going to catch them at home in the heat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you got to get out and
I
fish.
could see how people would say that the warming trends trigger the bite because that's when they go because it's warm.
Yeah, and
But-
I'm a long term.
But you've done it long enough to know which is which. You've been out there during warming trends before.
And I think you tend to do stuff maybe that you wouldn't normally do. I have not run into the back of a creek since I came back from deer season. All of the fishing has been done in flats and stuff adjacent to the channel where they would normally be right now. And if it got really warm all of a sudden, where we're 80 degrees, 75, I may go to the back of a creek because that's where the fish are supposed to be when that happens. And who knows, they might be right back there right now. I know Big John from that fishes down at Buster Boyd has been at one of his other land-based places to fish, and it's in the back of a creek, and he's catching fish. So I think there may be, like you said, a somewhat of a placebo effect, and what you do may be different, and it may spur you to do something that's different that hell you should have been doing all along. So yeah, there's something to think about there.
Do y'all think when you're on a lake, say for instance, y'all fish? I hear y'all talk about Norman a lot and Wiley. So you got Norman and Wiley. Do the conditions really that different from lake to lake? And I mean, is there things you would do different on Wiley versus?
Yes.
But I mean, is there things you would do different on Wiley than?
Yes, Wiley is much more nutrient rich body of water. Their visibility is much less than it is on Norman. Norman's a much clearer lake. It's considered like a mountainous lake, wouldn't it be, Dieter? The way
it's close. I mean, it's very clear. They've also got a lot more hot water influence up there. There's really no hot water influence left on Wiley outside of the Catawba plant, and they could even cool that water. We were down there last week fishing, and that water cools down a lot. Nothing really gets discharged out of Plant Allen anymore, but you still got a lot of hot water influence in and around Marshall. The stuff around McGuire comes out really, really warm, and that's a big difference. But like you said, they fish totally different.
Wiley, you're looking at the main channel. The main river channel is probably on average upper 30s, maybe 38 feet deep, and then you can fish that. You can catch fish in that. Lake Norman, on average, the river channel on average is probably 80 feet deep. It's just you're not going to want to drag on the bottom in 80 feet of water. So Lake Norman is much more difficult to fish because on Lake Wiley you can drag from dam to dam, and you're in prime real estate. On Lake Norman,
but that's the thing with Norman. There are fish that are in 60, 70 feet of water. It is hard to wrap your head around fishing that.
Yes.
Because you're so used to fishing, like you said, some of the deeper parts of Wiley.
I don't feel like there's as many. Like if you're going to drag, most people aren't going to drag in 60 plus feet of water, 80 feet of water. They're going to want to drag in, more shallow water than that. And that's the thing about Norman is you kind of have to, you have the river channel. You kind of got to come up the channel and find the depth that you want to drag on Lake Norman. Whereas Lake Wiley, you can just zigzag the entire lake and you're in, prime depth the whole time.
Yeah. But to answer your question, Wes, they're two totally different lakes in the way you approach them.
Yeah, the water clarity, everything. It's complete. It's unbelievable. It's almost like, but on land, it's the same way. If from Gastonia to Cramerton, it's completely different. Cramerton to Belmont, and then you got just a couple of miles down the road, you can go down to Clover, South Carolina. People are completely different. So you take the Catawba chain of lakes, and from dam to dam, it's amazing how different. I think that the two lakes that are the most similar on the Catawba chain would be either Norman and Mountain Island, or Wiley and Wateree.
I agree 100%. You nailed it with that. You nailed it with that. Yeah, I've been startled a couple of times on Norman where I will be drifting and I'm in, I don't know, 8-10 feet of water coming across a point or something. And I look down in the water and I see a big ass rock sitting down there because you can see it. You know, in Wiley, you'd never see it. God knows what I probably run across at that depth, but it's like, holy crap, there's a rock. And you're like looking at the sonar going, okay, I'm still in 8 or 9 feet of water. I'm okay.
Yeah, you'd
but
never
it's just
see
like,
it on Wiley.
yeah, you can see indentations and see bluegill swimming off of it and stuff. So yeah, and that affects how you fish it and what you can get away with and where you're fishing at up there. So different. Is Hartwell that clear?
No. Now the Kiwi River is the water coming out of the Kiwi River.
The Kiwi is it's
clear.
even more. It's clearer than Norman.
It's almost green water.
Yeah, it's like a teal.
What
like,
is that,
almost like Tennessee.
I'm trying to think of the name of the lake. You know, for years it caught on. There was a guy called 140-pound blue in it, and
Carr Lake.
Huh?
Carr Lake.
No,
Bud's Island.
No, down here in South
okay.
Carolina.
Okay.
It's down like you're going toward Columbia.
Murray?
Monticello?
Monticello.
Monticello.
Yeah,
Y'all, I don't hear a lot about Monticello no more. Is it been fished out, or people just keeping it under their hats, or what?
Well, this is the age of social media, and you got a lot of content creators out there. Monticello is extremely rural. So Wiley, there's a ton of content creators on Wiley. As far as the catfish niche is concerned, Dieter is the leader in that niche. There's a lot of content creators that primarily fish Wiley. When you get out there toward Monticello, I think Monticello is at least as good of a fishery as Wiley, maybe better. I don't know. What do you think, Dieter? I just think that
it's got the potential for a state record blue cat for South Carolina.
You just don't have as many people fishing it.
You don't have as many. It's a hard lake to fish. It's a finicky, weird lake, and all of that.
Because don't they drop it? Like, don't they drop it like every so many hours? It goes like way down and then way up.
Yeah, its primary purpose is cooling water for VC Sumner nuclear plant, but they've got a hydro side of it that dumps water into Parr Reservoir to generate electricity falling. And then downtime, they use the excess nuke power they got to pump water back into it at a Parr Reservoir. And so there's a little bit of current on the lower end towards the dam. It's super deep. It has standing timber in it. So you have to figure out how to fish that. There are, I think, 9,476,234 blue cats that are about that long in there that will just eat. I mean, I don't know why I didn't remember it. I showed up with Gizzard Shad the last time I fished down there, and you'd catch 1 out of 10 that hit the rod. It's extremely hard to fish, but with all that standing timber, there's a lot of places for fish to hide and fish to live that may never see a hook. So
now that's not on a chain, right? That's not on the.
No, it's actually not on a. That's the weird thing about the lake.
It's its own entity.
Yeah, it's basically a bunch of old farm country, and I think there was a creek through there, but that's not where
Is there a creek that feeds that now? Somebody told me it was spring fed. I've never seen it. Hey, JR, pull it up on a map. See if you can see any creek. I don't think there's a creek feeds it.
I think there's a creek through there, but it's a really weird one, man. It's not that old either. It's I think built in the 70s.
Listen, man.
Interesting.
Go ahead, Digger.
Interesting side note about it. There were actually, after they dammed it up in the following years, there were some earthquakes in the area that the seismologists attribute to the massive amount of water that was stacked up there in the lake, caused stuff to shift underneath the ground. And they had some earthquakes in that area for several years after that place was filled up.
Me and Lori went down there one time. I think it was the first or second week of August. And I'm not exaggerating. It was so freaking hot, dude. We got burned up, and we drank all our water, all our Gatorade. When we got back to that boat ramp there at the park, I just glanced over at my depth finder, And that water, my depth finder said the water temperature was 99 degrees. 99. I'll never forget that long as I live, dude. That water was so hot it would almost burn you.
I wonder which ramp you were at. If you must have been on that ramp on the south end near the hot water discharge.
There was a park there. There were some monkey bars and slides and stuff out there. I can't remember the name of that place. And
I bet it's the one he's zooming in on right there. Yeah, that's kind of on the south end down there.
That looks like a public swimming area. I'm trying to find the ramp. I've never fished Monticello. Let's see.
Yeah, there's one.
There it is. Monticello boat ramp. Right
That's
there.
it right there.
Yeah.
That's it, JR. That's it.
Yeah.
When we took our boat out right there, that water was 99 degrees.
Wow.
I didn't even know water could get that hot in a lake.
It comes in almost on the south end, the very south end down there. There's a exclusionary zone you can't get into. But
it looks like a very wind sensitive lake. Like you wouldn't be able to get out of the wind. Like there's not any
especially on that west side at the lower end. It's almost built like it's up on a hill. That's a big giant dike wall right there. And even if you get a west wind, it's like you're looking out across the countryside. It's a weird setup. And
did you see a creek going? Could you see a creek feeding it anywhere, JR?
No, there's no creeks to be seen. Mm-mm.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Matt said, boy, y'all slumming it with Dieter on here tonight.
What is up, Matthew? How are you doing, my favorite little Navy buddy there? Hope you're doing well. You recognize that right there?
That's the old Catfish with a K logo.
Where were you sitting at, Matt, when you designed a fish strikingly similar to that? Do you remember coming up with that?
That inspired me for my logo.
Hey, Dieter, this says Lake Monticello does not impound a river, but instead impounds a creek. It receives water from the Broad River.
Yep. They pump it in right there next to it. Yep.
It's similar. Yeah, is that not cool? Like nobody's done that.
That.
That's original,
cool.
Baby.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, they pump it up into that lake. It's an interesting setup. But like JR said, even I've got a place down at Lake Watery. It's still a drive from Lake Watery over there to go fish. It's rural, very, very, very middle of freaking nowhere, rural, and yeah, it doesn't get a lot of pressure or attention.
I was thinking today, Dieter. I was thinking about content creators. I about said us content creators, but I'm not really a content creator anymore. But anyways, I was thinking about that today, and I was thinking how we resemble the music industry, and how you have your guys that stick. You're like the Aerosmith of content creators. You started kind of.
That would be Luke Nichols. Who would be 80s? Who would be somebody from the 80s?
I think Luke Nichols would probably be like Pink Floyd, like somebody just a little bit better than Aerosmith.
All right,
you're just Aerosmith.
That works.
But then you have like your little one-hit wonders, like Ram Jam, whoa, Black Betty, bam, lamb, whoa. You remember that? Like, everybody knows that song, but nobody knows who it was because it was just a one-hit wonder. Mm-hmm. That's like me. That was me of the fishing content creator industry. So I think that I was comparing us to the music industry today. I think that there are some pretty funny comparisons there.
It's funny you mentioned that because I actually dug up the picture. Some reason that entered my head because this is the time of the year I reflect on the year behind and the stuff ahead. It's kind of when things slow down. But I was thinking about the first time I went to a catfish conference, and I want to say that was 17 or 18. And Steve,
I think I saw you there.
I think you were there. There was had that little gathering, and they did this big picture. And I remember, I look back, and the only people that are still in it is myself. Chris Flores was there, and I'm trying to think if there. I don't think you were there for the. Or were you there for the picture? I was
in a picture. I don't think I was there for that picture that you're talking about.
That
was later. I think I'd already left.
that may be the only people that are left because yeah, people do kind of come into the scene and they move on from it and they'll all move on at some point, I'm sure too. But yeah,
I don't think you're going to move on. I think that
Hey,
you're,
Dieter, let me sell you my
set.
boat. You need an offshore boat. I'm thinking about selling my boat.
I think that you're basically Richard Gene, but you just started earlier. Like when you finally do retire from your real job, then you're going to be full-time content creation.
Yeah.
I think you'll continue to do it until you can't do it anymore. Until you're like
who
on a
knows?
walker.
Who knows? I just keep doing what I do and then do it as long as I enjoy it, and I still enjoy it. So why are you selling your offshore boat?
I'm thinking about it.
Why?
I don't get a chance to use it no more.
This man
changes
changes with the weather. You know how many boats he's had in the last 5 years?
But I understand your plight because that is the thing that has kept me. Trust me, I have come across some that were reasonably priced that I'm like, dang, I could get one at a pretty decent price, twin engines, but then I start thinking, it's like, how often would I actually go to the coast and fish it? And that's the thing. It you either have to live down there or have disposable income to just.
I'm just waiting on Wes to get in the kayak industry. Come on.
God.
I mean, I'm all alone here, man. Like,
dude, if I had a motor on it, I might be interested in it, but I ain't paddling shit. I ain't
put a motor on it. I would love for one of my close friends to get into kayak fishing.
I'd get in a John boat with
my kayak is on the back of my truck right now. That's all I do anymore. Like I have to. Earlier today, I went out there and made sure my batteries on my boat were on the battery tender because I don't want them to go bad because I never use my boat anymore. All I do is use my kayak.
Facebook user is correct. I do believe there is a state record in that lake.
Facebook user, what's your name? You made a comment. Monticello is a tough lake. I believe personally there are several state records in that place. We've hooked a few in there and never turned them.
And Dieter, you can contest to this. I've heard that statement a million times. I guarantee you have too.
Yeah, I mean it's who knows what kind of gear they're using, how they're fishing, and all that kind of stuff. What kind of tackle they got, but yeah, I think they're right. I think there's a state record easily in Monticello. There's so many places for it to get down into a tree. Funny story. Years ago, Roger Taylor and myself went down there to fish a tournament. We had never been on the lake ever. And we get in, we go out there, we're riding around. We got a paper map, didn't even have it on Navionics. And we start marking this. I was like, dude, look at the freaking bait. Let's get some lines in the water. And we kind of reset coming off this point.
This had to have been a long time ago. Because
it was. It's no Navionics.
You haven't gotten that giddy in a long time. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, we got lines in, we started dragging, and then all of a sudden you see a rod. I said, oh, there he goes. Boom, it pop off. I was like, oh, man, I've been hanging on the bottom. Then had one go over, boom, boom, boom. All that crap we were seeing on that, maybe 1998 sonar unit was the standing timber that was in that place.
Hey, Dieter, can y'all read this?
Yeah, hold it still. Lake Monticello anglers.
Oh, that's
huge catfish estimated 97 pounds.
That's one Chris Simpson caught on his guide trip. There's his name. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember that one. He actually called me that day, had some numbers and was running the numbers on it and everything. Yeah, it's a pig. That's
when Monticello, I believe people that were, that was when I was just first getting into Facebook, hard and heavy. And I remember, man, listen, dude, he stayed booked for like 2 years after he caught that fish.
Yeah. He calls it the old shithole, as he affectionately talks about it, because he says it. As much as he fishes it, he hates fishing it, but he loves fishing it. When it's good, he has a day like that, you catch some fish, and then you go back the next day and you do the exact same thing in the exact same conditions, and it's totally changed. They're shut down. It would be a great lake. And trust me, I look all the time trying to find property around there. I would love to have a little cabin down there to where I could retire and do like, what's his name? That does all the perch fishing down there on YouTube, and just go out there and fish for catfish every day. I think you'd get that 100-pound fish out of that lake fishing it that consistently. But
What did I just say before Dieter got on the show, JR? I'm not big into that pattern shit. Things change every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
They do. They do. I mean, there's usually, I mean, you can get to where there's fish in a certain area, but man, it seems like that's changed from what it used to be. And I don't know if that's because I fish more now. But it just seems like, man, they can flip a light switch now and when fish are there and then all of a sudden they're gone.
So we're coming up on Christmas. A lot of people are going to be off work. And I am anticipating a large influx of Dieter Melhorn content. Do you got some content planned for us?
You will shorts every day. There will be at least one short every day, but there'll be a long form video every Sunday. So yeah,
every Sunday.
I have not broke 9 a.m. every Sunday. That's when the content goes up. So
9 a.m. every Sunday.
Yeah, I'm trying to break 50 this year. It's the first year in a while I have not broke, and that's I hadn't even broken on a guy trip. We've had 48s, 47s, 46, and I thought I had one today, and it was only 42. And
that sounds like Wes. That sounds like me and Wes trying to break a 50 on a striper trip. Seems like we get 47, 48, 49 all the time. Can't ever get that 50.
Hey, David.
You got anything planned, or is it just Wiley, or you got anything else planned? Anything far?
No, I'm probably gonna go. What's it? Wes or is he showing me a shirt? Is that what that was?
No, I don't smoke my house. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette right quick. I just want to let you know we're going to Chesapeake Bay. Me and John. I think JR is gonna come up there for a day or two. If you want to come with him, we're gonna be up there from the 10th through the 14th.
He might want to come separately because I'm coming just to make a video. That's it, and that's probably the only reason Dieter would be coming too. So
the January 10th through the 14th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we don't even have to do a video. Let's just come up here and fish.
Oh, we're gonna do a video. Come on. You know who you're talking to.
Sure.
You don't go do that. That's world class. That is world class.
I've never been. If
you don't go, Dieter, I promise you'll regret it. Because I mean, Wes, what he does up there and the relationships that he's established up there are impregnable. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I can't believe that we've gotten to do it so many years consecutively, because you never know when that switch is going to get turned off up there. So if you get an opportunity to go up there, if he is inviting you, then I mean, I'm telling you, if you could make it, it would definitely be worth it.
And where are you fishing out of? Where's like the place?
Cape Charles, either Cape Charles or Morley's Wharf.
Okay, cool.
Let me tell you a story right quick, Dieter. Last year, it was the week that I was up there, or the 10 days I wound up having to stay up there. I only got to fish 3 days. But JR, on a whim, he did what we call a turn and burn. He drove up. He got up there about 11 o'clock that night. We turned right around, got up at 5. Got out on the water, and it was rough. Dude, we tried to get out. I mean, it was beating us to death trying to come out of Cape Charles. So we went north about 25 miles. I take that back. We took the boat off when I told you, I said, I'm not risking this. I knew it was a little bit calmer up. That's just how different the weather was up there. 25 miles north, the water was almost totally different. So we put the boat on the trailer and went to Hardy's, hung around, talked to some more guys that was up there striper fishing, eat a gravy biscuit. And I told him, I said, well, buddy, I said, we'll go try it one more time, because he only come up there for 1 day. So we get out, we went up to Morley's, put in, got out in the water, and I found one little pot of bait, and we put rods out. Dude, we wound up going, I think we went 7 for 9.
Wow.
Caught 7 fish in 6 hours. Listen, people were listening to us on the radio. There was 3 guide boats up there, and I don't know the other 4 boats that come up there where we were. I mean, we just got lucky. It wasn't a lot of skill to it. I marked some bait. We put rods out, and the fish was there. So JR got him a 40. It was 49 and some ounce. It was almost 50-pound fish, and I called it 49. And JR said, "Damn, are you telling me you screwed me out of my 50-pound fish for a couple of ounces?" I said, "Well, it is what it is, buddy." But we went 7 for 9. And then
That's
I called my
crazy.
buddy because I was trying to call damn, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. John Mathena. I tried to call John on the radio. I said, John, I ain't heard you on the radio. Where you at? He said, I cut my fucking radio off 3 hours ago. I said, why? He said, because every damn body, all you hear on the radio is fish on, fish on, fish on. We ain't got a damn bite. My clients are looking at me like I'm the worst damn thing in the world. He said, so I cut the son of a bitch off. He said, let me go before I get mad and cuss you out.
That's funny.
But we had,
Now, how do you-
there were 7 boats wound up there around us.
Talk about when we went to Morley's.
Yeah, and you just had come up there for that one day, and then I was worried. I was like, "Damn, he's done drove."
You know, we
many hours.
Yeah, we went out in the bay, and it was too rough. I mean, it got hairy on us. I got a little bit of footage, but I couldn't even film. It was that scary.
Water come over the bow of my boat twice and flooded it. We were trying to figure out how water got in my cabin.
We
It
about
was
got
through the water
swamped.
from
It was
the bow.
absolutely terrifying. And so we
Wow.
get back and we go to Hardy's, and Wes. Yeah, I don't know if you know Wes, but Wes is on the phone with a million people, and finally somebody's like, "Hey, we ran into the same problem. Head north, head north, head north." So I'm thinking, okay, this trip's done. You know, I've done come all the way up here. You know, which I knew that's a risk that I was willing to take. You know, that's fishing. And last minute, we take off. We go north. We put in, and we see these dark gulls that are diving on bait. And Wes gets on the radio and he's talking to some pretty seasoned captains, and they're a good bit south of us, and they're not doing any good. Nobody's doing any good.
Right.
But we see these dark gulls diving on some bait, some menhaden, and we put out the boards. We can't even get the boards out, Dieter, and we've already hooked up to a 46 pounder. I don't remember how many fish we caught that day, but we did better than all the guides, anybody that was up there. That we did better than everybody up there that day. We
So
absolutely.
are you doing all this with live bait, I assume?
eels?
Yeah, black
Eels. Yep,
Okay.
eels. It's world class, man. I mean, I went up there and I targeted these trophy stripers up there for 10 years. And the last few years I've been up there with Wes, I've outdone anything me and my cousin ever accomplished with Wes. I've outdone anything we've ever dreamt of with Wes. It's epic. It's the mecca of striper fishing. It is absolutely the most wonderful fishing trip you'll ever go on.
It really is, Peter. It's amazing
you
to
were
catch
able
fish
to-
like that.
To make it, it would definitely be worth it. And if you wanted to go and if we end up going at the same time, I would love to help you get some content and make an absolute, because you could make a spectacular video up there.
Very cool. I'm
Yeah.
gonna, if I hadn't
it's
just
nice.
screwed my computer up, I was gonna look at the date. But yeah, I'll look into that and see if that's doable.
That's all I've ever wanted to do is help you, Dieter. It's all I've ever
Listen,
wanted.
Dean Cox, I took Dean Cox up there, and Dean called me because I put on Facebook at that time. I didn't have nobody.
I lost you. You're just breaking up.
I didn't have nobody. I wasn't really sure who I was going, so I just put a log on a post on Facebook. And this guy named Dean Cox said, I'd like to go. And I didn't know Dean. We weren't friends on Facebook or nothing. So I said, well, have you ever been up there before? He said, no. He said, I'd really like to go. So I looked at our friends, and we had some mutual friends, and Randy Brown, it said he was friends with Randy Brown. So me and Randy's been friends for years. So I called Randy. I said, do you know this cat, Dean Cox? And he said, yeah, I know Dean. I said, what do you know about him? He said, well, Wes, he said, I ain't never fished with him. But he said, he seemed like a good guy. He said, I tell you what, he stays on that goddamn phone more than you do. He said, that's about what I know about him. He said, he's going live every minute. So anyway, I told Dean, I said, look, you can go, told him what it would cost. And he said, okay, I'm down. And turned out to be an amazing trip. Dean got him a fish. He got him a 50-pound striper. Actually,
Dean,
they got 53.
Let me interrupt you. Dean is he's a Clemson fan, and he's a very popular Clemson fan.
They call him the Hat. He's
if
like
you're if you're a
he's like
diehard
Clemson.
if you're a diehard Clemson guy, then you know who Dean Cox is. He's got this weird cowboy hat looking thing that's got this Clemson shit on it, and it's like apparently it's like super popular.
Hey, let
There's
me
like
tell you
this
what,
big
Dieter,
story
the
with the hat.
one year Clemson was going to play LSU at LSU, and the LSU coach put a bounty out. I think it was like $2,000. He said, anybody will bring me that hat's got $2,000 cash. And somebody told Dean about it before the game, so he didn't wear it because, he didn't want no trouble.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dean got him a 53 on my boat, and then he got a 55 on Chuck's boat.
Wow.
And there again, people think, and I think I'm a good fisherman. But I think what's made me good is I don't mind asking questions. When I went to Chesapeake Bay, what did I do? I hired a fucking guide. I've never been up there before. Best money I ever spent. The guy, I watched what he was doing. And I told him, I said, but I'm coming back up here. I just want, and he said, I ain't got no problem with that. He said, hell, I like to see people coming up here catch fish. So, he showed me what they were doing. And there was a guy behind us, and he was on the radio every 5 minutes, fish on, fish on. I thought, who the fuck is this? So,
I mean, you're kind of selling yourself short, Wes, because I've been up there. I went up there for every year for a decade, at least a half dozen times a year for a decade. And I never had as successful as of a trip as I had with you. Now, granted, the stripers weren't doing as good then, but still, you're kind of selling yourself short. I mean, because
how do you find those fish in
Exactly.
the middle of that massive ass bay? Because it's big.
Exactly, it's big, and the radio helps.
Well, the radio
a lot.
really helps.
But you're still because every time everybody's not doing good, so everybody's kind of just picking a spot, going where they think where they think they should be, which is what Wes does. Don't let him fool you. He's not just saying they're these guys. He's making it sound like he's calling them on the radio and they're telling him some numbers and he's going there to fish. That's not the case every time. He's going to where he thinks the fish should be. He's putting out baits and he's catching fish. Like I said, when I went up there with Wes that one day, we smoked everybody. The guide, Lassard. What's his boat's name?
Clinton Lassard.
Well, no,
Lassard.
What's his boat's name?
Oh, Show Enough.
Yeah, Show Enough Sport Fishing up there. The charter service. We smoked them. They caught one fish that day. We absolutely murdered them. And it's you just go where you think they should be, just like you do anywhere else, any other type of fishing. You go where you think the fish should be. You put your spread out, and if you catch fish, you catch fish. If you don't, you don't.
JR, and you know what was weird? The next day, Chuck had Clint's boat charters. He said, just come go fishing with us. I said, all right. So I got to fish 4 days. I'm sorry. You know how many fish we caught that day?
How many?
14.
Oh, wow. It was on fire that day. Huh?
14 and lost 2. 16 bites. But like I said, there again, that just goes back
and Dieter, these are migratory giants. Mm-hmm. These aren't your residential CBBT fish, your New Jersey fish. This is the Mecca, the mother lode. This is the big mamas.
But you really would enjoy it, and like I said, anyway, Dean wound up with a 53 on my boat. Then we went with Chuck that next day. He got a 55.
Wow.
I took Alan the first time me and Alan went up there. We went for 3 days and only got to fish one, and Alan got him a 55-pound striper.
That's a lot of fish to clean.
Listen,
no, you can't clean them fish.
Hey, I'll be right back. Let me go grab a cord real quick. Be right back.
All right.
Oh, his phone must be about to die.
What you gonna show me, JR? Let me see that.
I was gonna say there ain't gonna be no Hellcats or Catch the Fever stuff. It's gonna be this right here, baby.
Tell him I need a sponsor.
You got one. He sent me all these free rods. I hadn't made a video yet. I gotta make a video with these rods, man.
Hey, I'm fixing to go to Chesapeake Bay. Tell him to put me some in the mail, and I'll do all the videos he wants. I'll use every one of them up there.
All right. Well, consider it done. You can have the ones he sent me. I'll just give them to you. He sent me 6 of these bad boys. They're brand new. They've never been used.
Oh, no, they're 7'6", ain't they?
All right, I'm back.
Probably, yeah. Let's see. These are 7'6", extra heavy.
The best rod I've ever used in my life, all around rod, is a Shakespeare.
Shimano Travala.
Is the Shakespeare Tiger rods and the Shimano Torres.
Oh my God! You just listed a $600 rod and a $70 rod.
Exactly. So see the difference. It's a Tiger rod, dude. It's hard to beat a damn Tiger
Yeah,
rod.
Dieter can attest to that. He loves the catfish, ugly stick catfish rods, which are
Love them.
basically the same damn thing. That they're just a little tougher, different guys.
They're not a Torres though. Hey, put them up against a Torres, see what happens.
Well, the Torres are just, but they're not durable though. I mean, I love a Torres rod, and they are awesome. But
Ain't
you're not just going to throw them around on the deck and step on them and. Yeah, no, they're not durable.
Dude, you're not gonna catch fish in the ocean on a catch the fever rod like you will a Torres.
Well, yeah, you're gonna work harder, but yeah, you can still catch them. But yeah, you're gonna work hard. It's gonna be a lot. You're not gonna be working a popper all day with an ugly stick, but yeah, it still gets the job done.
Like you just said, $75 rod. Tell him, Dieter, you can't beat a Tiger rod. They're light. They're
Oh no,
stiff.
I actually was at Cabela's tonight picking up some little sundry items for the Lund, and I picked up one of those rods. It's actually, I think it's some saltwater name they give it, but it's a ugly stick, and it's like, dang, that's a lot of rod for $59. I think is what that one calls.
Well, you brought it up. You brought it up, Dieter. So on the Real Fisherman Show, let's hear it first. What's your plans with the Carolina Skiff, bud? We've been seeing you.
I got bumped off. Hang on. AirPods connect. Cool. Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
What's the plans for the Skiff?
Yeah. We've been seeing you on that Lund a lot lately.
Yeah,
what's
I'm
the plans
keeping it.
with the Carolina Skiff?
I'm keeping it. It's going to keep one. It's nice to have just a second boat in case something goes wrong. Two, it's kind of going to be the saltwater boat. The Lund has trailer brakes on it. And if I put those things in salt water one time, they'll be a rusted pile of corroded crap pretty soon. So yeah, I'm going to keep it for now. And who knows? I just listen. I wasn't planning on buying the Lund to begin with, and so who the hell knows what will happen in the next year or so. But it's fun boat. It's a the other day. I was telling you about that guy trip when the front came through, and it was blowing 15, 18 sustained and white caps. And I went running up the lake end. It was kind of quartering at me, and that would have been a wet ass ride.
Yeah, you've been wanting a deeper V boat for a while now. I remember you saw me out on the lake one day, and you were like,
God,
"Hey,
Dieter, I can't believe you're doing it."
You were like, "Hey, let me know if you want to sell that thing, because my boat's a pretty deep V." So I could see why you like it.
Yeah, and it was just a cruising little ride, stay dry as can be. So I like it. I mean, it's an older boat. That just kind of comes with it. So,
Dieter, Ancient Mariner, really? Ancient Mariner?
Yep.
Well, it's been a good show, guys. It's
I ain't found a fish that'll break one yet. So
it's been over an hour. It's been a good show. Dieter, thanks for coming on.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it.
You got anything to end the show with?
No, why are we ending it?
It's been over an hour.
No, it ain't. We've been like 58 minutes and 39 seconds.
That's because we were late, though. It's 9:05.
Well, it hadn't been over an hour.
When we started at 9:04, it's 9:05.
Yeah, so we need to wait till.
What was it, 1 minute?
No, 4 more minutes, 6 minutes.
Oh my goodness, 6 more minutes. Do you really want to continue for 6 minutes?
Nah, no, Jake. No, Dieter. Seriously, look at your calendar.
Okay.
John's gonna be up there with us.
Yes, come, and John's gonna be there. Wes is gonna be there, and let's go at the same time. And I don't want any content. I want to help you make content. Let's go make a video.
So what days would you be fishing?
Probably I'm gonna go up Sunday, because what I'm gonna do, I was gonna just get my boat on the way up, but I'm gonna go get my boat from the beach Friday and bring it home. And I got to change some line. I got to get that 60-pound mono off of the braid and put some 25 on it. Or not 30. I think I'm gonna run 30 this year.
So
And,
the 10th is on a Thursday.
That's well. Let's see. Is it? No.
Sounds like he's already looked.
No, on January the 1st. I mean January the 10th of 2024.
January.
Wait a second.
yeah.
Tell me the dates again.
January the 10th.
It's on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
January the 10th is on
It's on a Wednesday. I'm sorry. It is a Wednesday. Yep.
Oh, well, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Hey, baby. When am I going to Chesapeake, baby? The 10th. I thought it was going to be a Monday. I thought I was believing it'd be on a Monday. Hold on a minute. I got to get my secretary to look. Let's see.
Well, that Monday would be the 8th, Wes.
Oh, I was your 6th.
7th. Or maybe was it the 7th through the.
So,
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's going to be the 7th. I'll leave on the 7th. And I'm going to try to fish the 8th night, hopefully the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And I'll be probably either coming back that Saturday or that Sunday on the 14th.
this is
Okay.
big.
That may be that. There's a reasonably good chance that I'll be able to get up there for a couple of those days.
That'd be awesome.
Anytime you want to go, just let me know, Dieter. I'll take off work and you try with me.
Cool. There's a reasonably good chance because I've got some stuff the following week, got some stuff that weekend, but during the middle of the week, I might be able to make that happen. So let's stay.
And
in
all
touch.
I ask, just help out with a little bit on the rent of the house and a little bit of bait. And that's it.
So
Oh, that
like,
we got a place to stay if I show
Oh, yeah.
up.
I get an
Oh,
Airbnb.
God.
I rent an
yeah, he's
Airbnb.
got Airbnb. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
I thought I was
nice.
gonna have to find me a hotel.
Wes
This
don't
is
skimp.
nice.
Wes does not skimp.
Okay. Cool.
Well, that's one time a year thing, so I try to make it as easy, comfortable as possible. There's great restaurants. The Airbnb I'm staying at, there's actually a grocery store right beside it, and they've got a hot bar in there. Then you've got Stingrays down the road, and you got Yuck and Joe. Yuck and Joe's is kind of like a real true hole in the wall, greasy food.
Yeah.
It is so good.
Am I going to get seasick out there? What's this? What's
No.
this?
No, you're not gonna get seasick.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
get
know.
we get and
You
we
can
get
see land. You can
us
still see
content
land.
creators get exceptional deals on
Okay.
our trips. We don't have to pay as much as normal folk. 'Cause
Okay.
Dieter,
We're-
you'll be what,
we're making him a star. We're making him look good.
You'll be what, 4 or 5? What are we, 5, maybe 6 miles, 10 miles? Not even 10 miles off. No, you're probably 4 or 5 miles offshore, maybe 6 at times. You can see land.
Oh.
And
That
on
don't
a
matter.
good clear, and on a good
You
clear
can still
day,
get you can still get sick 5 miles offshore, but not.
but on a good clear day, if you look real hard, sometimes you can see what they call the western shore. of the
It's going to
bay.
be a little more than when you go out there at Merle's Inlet and catch sharks a mile off the beach.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
bit more than that, but you'll be fine.
Yeah. Cool.
We'll have a good time. It'll be awesome.
Cool. All right, I'll let y'all go. Thanks for having
All right,
me
guys.
on. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Dieter,
for
as
coming on,
always, it's a
Dieter.
pleasure having you.
Yes,
JR,
sir.
thank you for being nice tonight.
I'm
Yeah,
always
thanks,
nice.
David.
Me and Dieter are always listen. Me and Dieter give each other a hard time, but we love each other.
He's sedated. All right, y'all be good. See you.
Good night, fellas.
See you next week.